Matt Riddle pulling out of bookings late September left and right, but he's keeping some of them WWN bookings.
That's curious.
Let me just run you guys down the history. I posted a teaser today. I did talk to Matt today. I interviewed him on video. I was wanting to save that, and I will save it for a couple weeks from now on the Listen Ya Boy. So I wanted to do that before I didn't have a chance to do it again. I've interviewed Matt every single year since 2014, since way before, I would say 99% of the people watching this podcast had any clue who I was from a wrestling perspective. And Matt gave me his time then. And back then we were talking pro wrestling. When he was fighting for Titan, I think I may have been his last interview as an MMA fighter, which is kind of cool. Because he immediately transitioned into pro wrestling. He got a WWE tryout and blew through it. And I had someone mention to me, the term they used was he embarrassed the tryout. To the point to where WWE was like, hey, we're going to sign you up. And then a couple weeks later, they were like, well, we're going to pass for now. Because they evidently Googled his name and saw him with a big old bag of weed.
Yeah, because it's weird. They don't want to be associated with people who you could Google bad stuff about, like a sex tape and racial epithets. Hypothetically, that kind of person, they don't want to be associated with that kind of person. But weed, especially not. Definitely not. Considering it's legal in a lot of states now, we can't have that.
So Matt he told this story on the broadcast with me a couple times, but he got offered some work with Ring of Honor and hit up WWE and said, hey, do you guys mind if I do this? Well, WWE, if you're number 3, they don't give a shit. But if you're number 2, it doesn't matter how far the distance between 1 and 2, they don't want you. They don't want you getting that leverage.
Yeah.
If you're number 3 by a smidge, good to go. So they said, no. We don't want to sign you, but how about we get you hooked up with WWN? Well, I always said, had Matt just worked for Ring of Honor, he'd have been in WWE probably a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
So essentially, he was biding his time until a WWE deal approached. And when I think of 2.5 years, I think of that scene from Half Baked where he finds out how long his girlfriend's dad is doing for weed. And I'm like, 2.5 years for weed? That's how I feel. And Sean Waltman got him the tryout. Sean Waltman has been on the record and said that's the only reason. So I did speak to Matt Riddle today, and I've been speaking to him a little bit more recently. And the interview that we did, I straight up said, Matt, listen, I'm not going to ask you about WWE. I'm not going to ask you about ROH because I don't think it's any secret. If you've watched any of our shows the last few weeks, there's a little bit of heat on me and a little bit of heat on us as a website from WWE. They're not too thrilled with us for some of the stuff we've revealed. So I was like, Matt, I'm not even going to ask you about it. But for the Fightful viewers, I wanted to be able to speak to him again before I didn't have a chance to speak with him. Didn't get a confirmation from Matt at all about WWE or anything. But I speak to my peoples within WWE about this, and they said WWE is of the mindset right now that they need to sign anybody who could be a potential game changer.
Yeah.
And his contract, I believe, with WWM was going to be up before WrestleMania season. That would have put him in position to be booked for some really, really big stuff. New Japan was also softening their stance. They had kind of put the hammer down on bringing him over because I guess in Japan, people look at weed like it's the 80s. But
they look at weed like it's the weed.
Exactly. You know? Exactly. So he's out of Bola. He's out of his SummerSlam weekend dates. We will wildly speculate that Matt Riddle has signed with WWE. I haven't been told by anybody within WWE that, but I legitimately have not been told that by Matt.
Right.
Don't want to cost anybody their gig. So I didn't even bother asking him, but we did have a very fun conversation that you all will see within the coming weeks. Your thoughts on this? I mean,
oh,
he's taken the indie world by storm the last few years.
Yeah, this is the thing. He is ready made to show up at NXT and take that place over. Do I have any confidence that they'll know how to work with him on the main roster? No, because they kind of find ways of drumming out very interesting personalities. Those guys don't stay interesting, like really interesting, for very long in the main roster. But in NXT, oh my God, he's got ready-made feuds with the likes of Velveteen Dream, Ricochet. I want to see him take on in a gauntlet match, Undisputed Era. Like, I just want him to come in and say, hey, bro, I'm the best thing there is, and nobody can touch me in the ring. Because that's absolutely, I mean, if you watch some of his stuff, man, you really can't touch him in the ring. That guy's amazing. And to have him be in there and do that kind of stuff, because he's a completely different style. Like, it's super hybrid. Like, it's totally different. I can't wait to see what NXT does with him. And as far as what his absolute ceiling in WWE, I do not know. I honestly don't know. But in NXT, sky's the limit. But in WWE as a whole, it really depends on how they treat him.
If you are unfamiliar with Matt Riddle's work, and this was a year and a half ago, as a gift to Matt, when we were winding down the broadcast, I had a highlight made for him because he wanted a highlight made to be able to send out. And I had IQ Wrestler, who does just the best wrestling highlights, do one of Matt Riddle. I had just posted it to my Twitter. Make sure you guys check that out. Show them some love. But, yeah, man, Matt Riddle, we will run that conversation. I was very glad to get to speak to him before things changed. Before things changed.